Rabbitohs Radio Podcast, the number one source for everything South Sydney Rabbitohs.
Welcome to another edition of Rabbitohs Radio. My name is Grant Chappell. I'm joined by Big Les from the Big Les Rugby League podcast. What's doing, Les?
Nothing much, mate. Had to absolutely destroy a protein shake this morning. Doing this a bit early for the punters at home, but early bird gets the worm, as they say.
Exactly, mate. Yeah, and I've had a couple of black coffees in anticipation of the recording. But yeah, look, big news popped through yesterday afternoon through Fox. We got out there on our social media channels as quick as we could. Latrell Mitchell down with a foot injury, mate. Big news, Les.
Well, look, like we were sort of talking pre-recording just about how the fact that we didn't even notice until the report came out about the foot injury. Like, he was dominating that game for a lot of that game as well. Like, heavily involved, plenty of touches of the football, pretty much involved in every set, which is, a few weeks ago, we probably wouldn't have said that about Latrell, but, this week it was a massive, massive improvement. I think it's probably one of the better games he's had over the past few weeks as well. And for that to happen, and then obviously for him to be playing that whole second half with a foot injury is just absolutely bizarre. Absolutely bizarre.
Yeah, well, there's a bit of mail around that he done it, sustained it in the first half. At halftime, they knew about it. They looked at it, just tried to manage it. He went out there and played the whole game out. Again, you wouldn't have known he was that dominant. One of his better performances, probably in a South jersey, to be honest. It was just everywhere. Effort on effort plays, back-to-back, try-saving plays, soft hands, his kicking game. He's so dominant. And he's played the whole game out. And apparently it blew up a fair bit in the dressing rooms after it with a bit of ice. So they had some scans yesterday afternoon. Still waiting those results. The club will get them out to us in due course. But ramifications, not only for the Rabbitohs, but for the game 3 up there in Queensland. Yeah, it's going to be a tough one. But look, I'm sure the Blues are probably sweating on someone like Angus Crichton getting through a game today. They were sort of real dominant on that left edge. Up against the Queensland right dude, I think there's going to be a big reshuffle going on there. But just on us, what he had 3 line break assists, 2 try assists, scored a try himself. You got to think Jai Gray comes in. I think he was pretty handy in the New South Wales Cup from all reports. I ran a few people who were there. You're going to miss his kicking game, Big Les. That's what's been the difference the last couple of weeks. Him chiming in the kicking game with Cody Walker and Jackie Whiten. And not only that, goal kicking can factor in. Obviously, you've seen the last time he was out, we had a few different goal kickers there. Cody Walker did his best. He wasn't too bad. Hopefully, Cody gets the job done next week against the Dolphins.
Yeah, look, obviously big news for both South Sydney and the Blues. You mentioned the goal kicking. I think that's huge. I think that's probably one of the bigger things as well. Who does the goal kicking when Latrell's not in the team? I'm not too sure on that fact. It'd probably be, I couldn't even tell you off the top of my head, to be honest. I don't think I've seen many of those boys kick. Maybe Jai Arrow gets that opportunity, but other than that, you probably don't know who's going to be taking those goal kicking duties. But yeah, in-play kicking as well. I mean, Whiten's been unreal with his in-play kicking, not only just the short kicking game, but the long kicking game as well. And the kick chase on that left-hand side has been superb. So, look, I have no doubt that he's going to take a bit more of a role and just himself, obviously, with the kicking game. As for the Blues, yeah, look, it's a big one. I am still pretty 50-50. Look, if Matt Burton or Bradman Best get selected, I'm going to be happy either way. I think those guys are in the top seat. Do they go and make a big play and bring in Joseph Suaalii, who was obviously there in game 1? Obviously, that is a bit of a talking point as well. But yeah, look, it will be very interesting to see what direction they go. Obviously, Jesse Raymond's in the discussions as well, but he's more of a right centre. Do you move Stephen Crichton back over to the left? And even Tom Trbojevic obviously made his return yesterday as well. So there's plenty of guys that we've got, obviously, in the talking points. I mean, we've got so much depth in that position. So I think if there was one position there where there was, or I would be happy for there to be an injury, it'd be centre. Then again, I think it changes a lot for Queensland as well. Obviously, there was a bit of a doubt around Valentine Holmes, if he'd get selected or not. But I think that with Latrell Mitchell now out for game 3, we could just see the same backline, same team really named for Queensland going into this decider.
Yeah, I reckon they had Cobbo right centre and put Val Holmes on the wing, where he's done a good job for Queensland. It's a pretty simple transition. Or they got Gagai to come in on the wing, leave Val Holmes where he is. They've got a few options there, Queensland, but we don't want to help them in any way, Les. That's for sure, mate. We might get onto this big win the other night. Look, again, every time we play, it rains. It's just the way it's gone. 32 points to 16 over the Parramatta Eels. We got off to a good start, Les. It was a bit of an arm wrestle, but we sort of, once we settled down into a groove, Parramatta started to make errors out of their own end, and we got a couple of scrum plays back to back. And the first one was I think it was a real punch on the left hand side from Jackie White, but then the next one off a repeat set, we ended up getting a beautifully executed play on the right hand side. We had the numbers 4-on-3. Cody and Latrell summed it up pretty quick, and Gags went around untouched. Beautiful. I got me anytime try scorer again.
Yeah, perfect, mate. Perfect. We did tip Jack Whiten, obviously, for a try. He'll end up getting 2, so it's double the luck there. Hopefully the punters can give us double the odds in the payback. But, yeah, look, Jack Whiten was probably the better player on the field. Just his involvements, just a few of his opportunities as well, running the ball. I thought that, obviously poking in the line, looking for offloads, stuff like that. He was probably one of the more dangerous runners of the football on the night. And you'd think that Dylan Brown would probably have the same amount of impact. I mean, Dylan Brown, he did get up around the 100 metres, but, I think that Jack Whiten definitely won the battle there, set up a majority of the tries as well. Jackie Whiten, 7 tackle busts. It's just an awesome effort, 3 offloads, 12 tackles there as well. I mean, just had an all-round solid night, Jackie Whiten. And then we talked about the kicking game before, 261 kicking meters. Just really, really solid stuff. Really impressed with Jackie Whiten. I thought he had a really solid game.
Yeah, he did, mate. That try that he scored, I think it was a Tane on offload out the back. Cookie cleaned up the crumbs that went just along the back line there with a couple of the forwards, put it out there. And Gag showed a clean pair of heels down that sideline. And that was no easy pass from right to left at full stretch between a few Parramatta players. And Jackie Whiten, the left, playing over on the left, was able to come over on the right-hand side and just push up around the ball, which is just what he's known for. Effort on effort plays. He just does not stop all night, Jack Whiten, and he was able to go over for a great try. And we're off to a pretty good start there, Les, without going through all the tries in this game. But what a play by I want to talk about Tane Milne. 7 offloads in the game. I went back the whole season. No one's got more than 5. 2023, no one had more than 5. 2022, no one. I went back 3 years, couldn't find a South player with 7 offloads. So Tane Milne, he's just starting to get growing confidence. His defence on Penasini was a feature on the night. His yardage carries have been like that for a couple of years. You're just starting to see a bit of strength from Tane, being able to wrestle out of a tackle and get that offload away. 2 of them resulted in tries. So well done to Tane. He sort of set that one up, didn't he?
Mate, he's been unbelievable for the past 3 weeks. He's had a really good run there in the centres. Just his effort areas as well. The way he runs the football, he just runs with so much gusto, aiming to break tackles. He is an absolute weapon. And I think I've been really impressed with his output. 2 tackle busts in this game, 167 metres. You mentioned the 7 offloads. Also had 6 tackles there in the centres, only missed 1. So, just improving week on week for me too, Tane Milne, rounding out his game a little bit there in the centres. But, look, I mean, you've got to definitely give this guy some credit. He has been really, really solid the past few weeks, and he's been a big factor as to why we do get a bit of go forward, on the edges. He obviously is one of the tougher runners there in the back line. So, yeah, super impressed with his output and, particularly a massive improvement on previous years that we've seen him come into the side as well. We've seen him come into the side many times, obviously on the wing when there's injury and stuff like that. But, since he's made this spot his own over the past few weeks, he has been extremely impressive and I've really enjoyed watching him.
Yeah, he's a beast, mate. We had the Ramos Bricklaying Award. It was shared between him. That's the Brick by Brick Award for the hardest working player. We shared that between Gagai and also Jackie White. I couldn't split them. They were there all night, non-stop. We'll talk about them guys individually a bit later. But just before half time, I think it got to about 12-6 in the game. But just before half time, Cody Walker, speak about not dying on the play. They shifted it over to the right. He turned Keaon underneath. Instead of just admiring his work, he didn't do that. He turned around and got himself on the left-hand side of the play, called for the ball, and Cheeks was lucky enough to get the ball away, and he caught it way above his head too, dove over for a try to give us a 16-6 lead. And I thought that was a fair reflection. I thought we were the better side in the first half. Going into half-time with only, I think it was a 10-6 lead, wouldn't have been justice, but to go out 16-6 was probably a fair reflection of the game.
Yeah, look, the halftime score was 16-4, so we were definitely up by a little bit there going into halftime, and we were the better team in the first half for sure. Off the back of Jack White and his running game, Cody Walker just being so silky on that right-hand side. He had plenty of opportunities, Cody Walker, obviously one denied to himself as well. So, really solid game from both of those boys. And, just the go forward we got through the middle too. You got to give a lot of credit to Keaon Koloamatangi, who I'm sure we'll mention in a second. Another massive performance from him, 23 runs, 221 metres, 108 post-contact metres, 108 post-contact. Absolutely.
He's in the top 5 in the league in post-contact metres after a bit of a slow start to the season. But by the end of the season, if he continues this rich vein of form with the way he's been able to just stand in tackles and walk with people, he'll end up in the lead. I think it's adding for Noah Blake, another mascot junior. He's out in front, so he'd be out there trying to catch him for sure. Yeah, outstanding from our middles. And then I think after half time, Gillard scored a try, was able to isolate Jai Arrow there, stretch out. But there was another nice little passage of play for us where I think it went Davey Mawali had the dig in out the back to Cody, and then Latrell had the 2-on-1, but was just able to use a bit of footy nous there and slide over and score over in the corner there. And we just sort of took a bit of command of the game again there because it got a little bit close after that Reggie's try.
It definitely sort of started to even up, even though that, at Parramatta, they did get the 2 tries in the second half. I still thought that we were probably the better team for most of that half. I think Moses, it was just a few opportunities that he had, particularly in his spread sets on that right-hand side. One that stands out to me was a short ball to Will Penasini. If he went out the back on that play to Gutho, there was a certain try, for Blaze Talangi. He'd already scored, I think, 2 or close to 2 in the game. But that would have been close to a third try for him. He only scored 1 in the game, but there was plenty of opportunities to put him over. I think that Moses had a bit of an off night and then obviously got sent to the bin at the end of the game too, which was very interesting. I think he just had a bit of a brain snap. I'd say that we were the better team for majority of the game. I think if anyone stood out, Regan Campbell-Gillard's one, but Ryan Madison for the Eels as well. Oh, my God. 212 metres, 18 hit-ups in this game, and then defensively 34 tackles. I thought that he was troubling every time he ran the ball. He'd be making plenty of post-contact metres, 100 of them in this game as well. That battle between himself and Keaon and obviously Jai Arrow on the edge was so good to watch.
Yeah, we ended up running away with 32-16 winners, but it was a real arm wrestle. Probably Parramatta played pretty well, to be honest. I think they just went sideways a little bit too much. Probably if they had their time again, they'd want to just use those edge back rows a little bit more punchy and Reggie going through the middle. And this Blaze Talangi, mate, what's he doing out in the wing? Get him in a position where he gets his hands on the ball more. I don't know what they're going to do. They have at stages they put Dylan Brown in the centres. I don't know whether they drop one of those centres and put Dylan Brown in the centres and get this Talangi, get him in the halves, just like we've done with Jack White. We had him out in the centres. We needed to get him closer to the ball. Mate, he's a good footballer. Moses makes a big difference. He just kicks you out of trouble. Some of the defensive yardage sets we had against Parramatta, we did a good job, but Moses has put him in good position most of the night. They just had a lot of half breaks and half chances, and South just scrambled and worked hard for each other from outside in. Cam Murray in the first half come up with a bit of a try saver when they did a spread set. Latrell Mitchell come across in cover and saved a try that should have been scored. So our scramble D it's as good as anyone in the comp at the moment, Piglet.
Mate, Jai Arrow is probably the better performance from a back rower of the weekend. I thought that with the circumstances, he went down every few minutes with that shoulder injury. He still managed to play the full 80 minutes Had 13 runs for 139 metres, had 55 post contact, 11 tackle busts, and then 23 tackles. Only missed one with that shoulder. Only missed one tackle with that busted shoulder. His effort is phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. I thought he was one of the better back rowers of the weekend so far.
Oh, he's an animal, Toyero. I mean, if we can beat the Dolphins, I think they keep him alive, especially now with Latrell probably looking to miss a good month of footy. I think they're going to keep him alive and keep him going, mate. Keep that shoulder probably noodled up and massaged. Like he's an animal. Like Liam Kennedy, look, I don't normally talk about refs, Big Les, but mate, he had a Barry Crocker in this game. Some of the decisions he made were terrible. So in the first half, I think it was Moses copped a nothing little bicep in the head from Tane. Moses lies down. He gives a penalty. Later in the game, Jairo copped a couple of hits in the head. Just play on. Sean Kepi copped a lazy bicep to the head off someone. They even had a look at it. And because South were calling for it, he come over and said, no, play on. Play the ball. Come on, play the ball. There was a few other times where I think Latrell did an amazing over-the-shoulder catch, if you remember. In the pouring rain, the goalpost in his face. Latrell gets it, runs up to do a quick tap. He stops him, says, hang on, mate. 3-4 seconds later, Latrell gets to tap the ball and run. What was he doing, this bloke? He had a shocker, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, look, I mean, there's been a few shocking calls over the past few weeks with the officials, but yeah, look, it's a tough one. It really is. It's getting a bit out of hand now, the consistency and stuff like that in the bunker. And yeah, look, it is getting quite out of hand. And we did see a few tough calls against us in this one. I think that Parramatta got some tough calls against them as well. And they do like to even it out between both halves as well, which is just interesting. But yeah, look, there was definitely some ones where you're left scratching your head, that's for sure.
What about Cody Walker's no try where he knocked the ball backwards, it bounced forward, and they turned around and dived on it. He just good on the referees for making a call on the spot, but that was worth going upstairs, surely, that one.
That's a try. That's a try every day of the week. It did bounce back.
I thought he got that one wrong, big time, Yeah, I was disappointed in just some of his decision making. The way I think he was yelling at Campbell, this is really riding Cam the whole game. Like I haven't seen Cam have a running battle with a referee like this, maybe ever. I'm not sure if there's something going on there between those two or what, but yeah, like good on you, Cam, just for sticking to your guns, mate. I don't think you did anything wrong there on the night. Yeah, that was a real strange one, mate. Liam Kennedy, get back to the drawing board, son.
Yeah, look, as I said, some pretty tough calls from a bunch of officials over the weekend so far. So, yeah, you just got to get back to the consistency. I think it's going to frustrate a lot of fans across a bunch of teams as well. So, they've just got to really go back to the consistency, and I think that a lot of the thing that annoys people the most is the inconsistency. If we just get back to making the same calls for everyone, even if sometimes they may be the wrong call, if we see two of the same instance, you've got to ref it the same. You can't ref it in a different way for the same thing. I think that just getting back to consistency with decisions, I think is going to make fans a lot happier than what we're seeing at the moment with a little bit of inconsistency and, referees making a decision and then getting overturned.
The high shot bloke's lying down. He refereed it differently in the first half than he did in the second half. That's not consistent. I actually thought we got away with one or two knock-ons in the second half, right? Whereas ones he pulled up in the first half. So, it did go both ways. I think we got away with a couple little sneaky knock-ons. But look, he's got to be better next week, and I'm sure he will be. Can't be too hard on the officials. It is a tough job. Now back to Jack White. I think it was his best game in the red and green. One stat I went through and had a look at, and you probably don't. No one talks about it. I've never heard anyone talk about it. But his play the ball speed, quickest play the ball in the game, 3.1 seconds per play the ball. Mate, that got us on the front foot a lot. Also, the try saver he had in the 22nd minute where I think they turned someone underneath and he was able to push off his man and do a legs tackle out wide. Had he not done that there was 3 or 4 people pushing through in support, and I think they scored. Jack White, an outstanding performance, Jackie. Well done, mate.
Yeah, look, it's a bit of an interesting one. I got a question for you. When we get this new half from the Super League, is Jack White moving out of the halves? I mean, I want him getting many touches of the ball as possible.
Yeah, well, I don't. Yeah, we don't know what's going to happen there, mate. I don't know what Wayne's thinking there. He's got a whole off season to work that out, and I'm sure he'll keep his cards really close to his chest. Just a real good kicking game on him. That young halfback coming out from the UK, and I'm not sure what the contract size was. Was it around the 400, 500 mark? I haven't seen any confirmed details there. You're not bringing a bloke out for 400,000 or 500,000 to sit him in reserve grade. So I know Wayne loves a little halfback with a good kicking game. He has had that over many years from all his different teams. So I'm sure that's what he's looking for in the young Pommy halfback coming out. Look, Jack Whiten, he's a team player. Cody Walker's a team player. Look, Cody was happy to jump into the 7, get out of his preferred 6, change sides of the field. He's done that. Cam Murray, team player, likes playing in the lock position, but he's out on the edge. And look, they'll do whatever is required, whatever's best for the team. At this stage, I think it will be a Cody Walker. We'll jump back in the 5'8" position, I reckon, and Jack will jump out in the centres.
Yeah, look, it would definitely be interesting. Yeah, look, I'd be giving Whiten a roaming license if he does move back to centre, though. I think that you just got to get him as many touches as humanly possible. I think that you can't have him in the centres and then make him stick to his edge like he did at the start of the year. He's got to come in and get involved. I think that you've got to have him roaming because he's too dangerous just to be left out on that left edge for me. I think that what he's shown us at 5'8" with his running game, his offloading game, his kicking game, I think he is way too valuable to be just left out on an edge for me.
Yeah, well, it's going to be an interesting one. What about some re-signings? Like, look at Tane Mill. We've spoken about the impact he's had on this team. His confidence has grown. Richie Kenner, nearly in the same boat. He's playing some really good football. Defensively made some good reads. Him and Cam working together. He high-pointed this crossfield kick that we just haven't been coming down with in the last couple of years. You've got a few South players in the picture. There was a few Parramatta jerseys in the picture. He's able to go up and high-point the ball and bring it down to get us out of trouble. Mate, and we've also got a guy like Jacob Guymer, 2 tries, 3 line breaks. He had nine tackles, no misses, 8 tries on the season. If you got to re-sign one of those blokes. Who are you re-signing out of those 3?
Yeah. Look, I mean, it's a tough one. It really is. They've all been playing very, very well. I can't give you an answer.
I can't see 3 of them being re-signed. It just doesn't add up when I've been making up the roster. You could possibly have 2. For myself at the moment, if I had to go 2, I'd probably say Tane and Gags. Even though Richie's a really good team player and he's a good laugh and a good character around. You've seen when Latrell scored that try in the corner and he was going to do a try celebration. Richie got up and did the Latrell bunny ears, and even Latrell retweeted it on his Instagram account. He's a good character, a good laugh, you know.
Mate, I'll tell you who we're going to miss. Tommy Burgess. What about his performance off the bench? 127 metres, 2 tackle busts, 19 tackles, 0 miss off the bench.
Oh, he's hard to stop. Jesus, he just hardly runs onto the ball. If you're going to tackle him, you got to go low, but everyone tries to go high and gets bumped off. I mean, he bumped off Charlie Guymer a couple of times there. Charlie went high a few times. He's another bloke we probably left out of it, Charlie Guymer. What a great debut from him. Off contract next year as well. A real hard worker in the mould. He reminds me a bit of Michael Wayman from a few years ago. He's got that older head on him. I mean, they used to call Michael Wayman 40-20. He's 20, but he looked 40. But I think Charlie's a bit in that same mould at the moment. The old 40-20. What a performance.
He just looks rough. Just looks rough as guts. I love it. I love him, though. I know I'd be splashing a few $100K. I think that he is an absolute weapon. I think that any club would be definitely looking into this guy, especially after this debut. Coming off the bench in his debut, 45 minutes. You don't see many debutants get over 15. He played 45, had 109 metres of 11 carries, 50 post contact at a tackle bust, 26 tackles. I mean, his work rate was just absolutely unreal. And it says 6 missed tackles here. Like, no, those missed tackles, he still came flying out of the line and made that first contact regardless. So, yeah,
What
definitely a
about the one
player.
on Cam Murray? He came in on it like a missile. Took Cam Murray out
Yeah,
of the air.
I think this guy's going to be in
Actually, probably
the
there was a guy playing for Parramatta a few years ago. Is that Manly now? Nathan Brown. He just does everything 100 miles an hour, comes in for the
yeah,
big shots, and he's got potential to be
oh,
a real
definitely
match
shades
winner
of
off the bench. 19 years of age. I'm sure Parramatta are looking to sign him up as we speak off the back of that performance. Cookie and Peter Mamazoulis, we'll have a chat about them. Pete hasn't been used 2 out of the last 3 weeks. He's just been going too good, Damien Cook, to take him off. What led the tackles again? 51 tackles. His running game, his decision making's been spot on. His delivery out of dummy half is just so crisp. It doesn't drop off late in the game like some hookers.
Yeah.
And guys like Cookie just demand the ball out in front. So Cody Walker, I mean, like he'll blow up if he doesn't get it out in front. But outstanding game from Damien Cook. What do we do with Pete there? Do we just poor old Pete's been left in the dark there?
Well, depending on how long Havili's got left with his injury, I'd be putting Havili in there, and I'd also be carrying Jai Gray on the bench. I think that if you're not going to use Pete, you probably have a utility there that you could use and have just roaming around the middle of the park as a second 5'8". I'd probably bring in Jai Gray.
Well, Havili's due back after the Dolphins game. You got Hosty should be available this week. You've got Izack Thompson's coming back, the big winger. So we've got a few troops coming back in the fold. I think even Dean Hawkins is not far away, maybe 1 or 2, 3 weeks away. So we're going to start having a few decision headaches. And I think that's what the thinking was with Jai Arrow. If you get a few more options, Jai could go and have the surgery. But I think if we continue to win, I don't think you can take Jai. I don't think you can put him under the knife, Jai Arrow, because you never know. If Latrell is only a 3-4 week injury, if he comes back and produces what he's produced, wow.
Yeah.
I'm
Look,
not
I
sure
think
what you do there, mate.
in our race to finals, I don't know if I am bringing Dean Hawkins back. I think that this halves pairing's got to stick. I think you go Cody Walker, Jack Whiten for the rest of the year and just play that out. I think that's our best halves pairing we've had all year. I think that we've obviously won more games with them in there. And I think that, yeah, look, I wouldn't be changing anything about this spine up. Obviously, Latrell Mitchell coming out, you'd put in Jai Gray. But yeah, look, in terms of Peter Mamazoulis, I think Havili comes back in when he's ready after the Dolphins. And then when the Troll comes back, I think Jai Gray probably gets a spot on the bench.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's the Brownie likes Jai Gray a lot. Just loves the way he just everything he does is with purpose and explosive. I mean, talk about the cup soon, but yeah, they got a few headaches there. What about Cam Murray sitting out there on an edge? Had a couple of little errors in the first 10 or 12 minutes. I think one of them that Latrell did a short dropout, sort of straight almost, and he got up and he knocked the ball back, came off his shoulder, went backwards, hit an Eels player, went forward, and we dived on it. I think that was the wrong call of the referee. We knocked it backwards, so he's a little bit unlucky there. He played some pretty good footy, 140 odd meters, I think he had. He had 41 tackles, only 1 miss. So again, I told you he's going to be in the mix for the top tackle count. Doesn't matter if he's in the middle or on the edge. He really helped Richie Kenner out there, didn't he?
Yeah, totally. And I think he moved into the middle after about 20 minutes and then moved back to the edge for later in the game. So, yeah, definitely a massive work rate there for Cam Murray. And yeah, look, I mean, I don't know if I am keeping Cam Murray on an edge, to be honest. I think that he's better through the middle. I think you have that leg speed through the middle. It's just better for the team. So I'd even consider having Keaon starting in the front row with big Davey Mawali. I'd be moving Kep the Wep to the bench. And I'd move Cam Murray into 13. I'd probably even consider moving Tallis Duncan onto a starting edge or potentially even Michael Cheekan, depending on how you want to go with that rotation. But yeah, look, I'd be moving Cam Murray back into the middle. I know that Keon's been outstanding at 13, but you can still have that ball playing element to his game there in the front row. We've seen that the middle role become very popular. Me and Brownie have talked about it ad nauseum. So, yeah, look, I'd probably be moving Murray back into the middle. He was solid on an edge. I just think that he's better in the middle of the park.
Yeah, let's talk about that Cappy and Mawale, I think, geez, they keep putting on big shots every week. I mean, they're going to be up for the Adam Sampson Finance Loan Market Tackle of the Week. I've got to look at Kepi did a couple of strong tackles in the second half, and so did Davey. I think he put on a nice shot in the first half, and Michael Ennis gave him a rap for that. Yeah, I think that's not a bad decision because I'm not moving Keaon out of the middle, mate. No way breathing. And that with guys like Hosty coming back, he could be available to jump on an edge, or Michael Cheekham hasn't let us down. Big Les, has he? Another big game from Cheeks. He had the offload for Cody Walker. He also had the tip on for over the top pass. That wasn't an easy pass either. That one for Gags when he put Gags away down the sideline for the Jackie White and try. But geez, he's been consistent. Cheeks. I'm glad they re-signed him on a 1-year deal. We've needed him.
I think that's something that not many people are talking about with Cheeks as well, is that you look at him at the Tigers and then him at South Sydney, he's put on at least 10 kilos. So to still be that mover with a lot more weight on him, I think is just, testament to him and his work rate. Look, I thought he had a really big game. Only had a few minutes, 32 minutes. Only ran for 50 metres, but just setting up a few guys on the outside. I mean, had 2 line break assists, had a try assist in there as well. Cheeks, definitely a big performance off the bench, a lot of impact. But just the size that he's put on and still being able to move the way he does, testament to him. Really, really solid stuff.
And what about his toughness too? Like, I mean, Madison put a massive shot on him in the first half when he first came on. Might have been his first touch of the game. You thought, oh, geez, I would have stayed down myself. But he got straight back up, played the ball, and just got on with it. But his toughness probably gets left out a little bit. That might be it on the first grade game. You got anything else, Les, you want to cover there before we rip through these pathways?
Look, just solid performance. We obviously mentioned Guymer before, but just really want to give a shout out to him. I actually hope they probably just let him rest, depending on how many players we do get back in the forward rotation. I think that, I don't want to see him get the big injury that rules him out for ages. We've seen what's happened to Tommy Flegler over at the Dolphins, obviously with his shoulder injury. It's gone from he's going to be out for 6 weeks to he's going to be out for the season. I don't want to see that happen to Guymer, especially with how hard he's worked for this team. So depending on how many players we get back after the Dolphins, I probably would give him that rest. I don't know about you. I know how hard he works for the team and how imperative he is to the team. But at the end of the day, he is carrying a pretty hectic injury. And the amount of times I saw him go down in that Souths game, almost had a heart attack. So I just want the best for Jai. I think the best for Jai would probably be to sit out the rest of the year, depending on how many guys we do get back after the Dolphins game.
Yeah, I mean, he's not going to want to do it. But if it's best for him, Jai, I think the club will make that decision for the future of this boy. He's probably late 20s now, just an animal, just a complete team player. If South Sydney decide to shut him down, I'm happy to go either way. If they want to keep him going or shut him down, I'll back whatever the club says there. I've got no dramas with that. Now, most of the statistics team-wise were in Parramatta's favour with possession and stuff like that, run meters and all that sort of stuff. But even post-contact meters. But we were able to get him on more creative stuff. Like we got him 7 line breaks to 5. So that just shows when most of the line breaks we had or good passages of play, it's when Cody's passing the ball to Latrell. So we're going to miss that one, Big Les. He's just got such soft hands. Latrell Mitchell, going to be a tough one. But anyway, we'll get into the pathways brought to you by the Juniors group of clubs. Get up to the Juniors. We've got some great restaurants up there. Great to watch the South Sydney games, whether it's Malabar, Juniors Maroubra or Juniors Kingsford. Get down there and support the club that supports us here on Rabbitohs Radio Podcast. It was Teamless Tuesday. We'll go through some of those A-grade results. I went to a game yesterday. Wombats Rovers. There was Georgie Bird just had a game over there on Kenzo Oval. We'll get to that on another day. But yeah, the New South Wales Cup were beaten 20 points to 16. They got down a couple of tries early, but 4 tries apiece. Goal kicking let us down there. Ended up being Fletcher Myers on debut, scored 3 tries, and a couple of them were runaway tries. One was just a try from dummy half off a nice Thomas Fletcher hit up. He was only half a metre out, Thomas. He played some pretty good minutes in reserve grade there. And Fletcher Myers, nice little hat trick on debut, buddy.
Look, we talked ad nauseum about Fletcher Myers when he got signed. Really talented player, great ball playing skills. He's a great mover as well. His footwork. Look, really happy to see him go well. I think there's a chance he debuts next week too.
Yeah, he's certainly one to keep an eye out. A very powerful runner, very confident young man. Likes to be out, have his hands on the ball. Jai Gray put him away. A beautiful pass from Jai Gray where he just hit the gas, passed the ball between two or three defenders to put his man away on the outside. And look, a lot of the times in first grade, you haven't seen Jai's passing game yet, but he's got a good passing game. And I hope the more games he plays in first grade, which he's going to get another month in front of him now, we might be able to see that evolve a little bit over the next few weeks. Jersey Flag had a tough day. It went with Oval yesterday, beaten 46-0. Coach Tippy just said we're out-muscled and we haven't got the kicking game in the halves to kick us out of trouble when we're getting out-muscled. So I'm a little disappointed there, and probably the best half in that system at the moment is Matthew Humphries, and they're not going to get him back for the season. He's doing all the GPS rugby stuff. So Tippy and the boys will keep grinding away. They're a bit of a bogey side for us. They're coming second or third last, Parramatta, each time we've played, and we've been way higher on the ladder, but they've been able to come away with two comfortable victories. So keep plugging away there, you Jersey Flag boys. I'm sure it'll turn. And it was round one for the girls. They're big lads, and they had a great win there, 22 points to 10. A couple of goals there from the veteran herself, Maddie Studden, and a penalty goal. So well done, girls. Great win.
Yeah, Maddie Studden's a name you'd probably recognise if you watched the first few seasons of NRLW that were televised. Really solid player, halfback. I was actually surprised that we had signed her as well. Obviously a veteran. Didn't realise, that she was the veteran that she is. But, look, it was great to see her, rip and tear for the girls. And, I love the way in which the girls' game is going, and just seeing teams come in every single year. It's just so exciting to watch, and I can't wait to see where the girls' game gets to in, the next 3 to 5 years.
Yeah, stoked to get off to a good win there. Chanel Lyons opened up the scoring there. She's one to keep an eye out for. And obviously Brad Takarangi's sister. You got Keaon Takarangi in the centres. And Sian Filippo, who was in the halves a few years ago, she was in the hooker position. She's another one to keep an eye out for. And Michaela Langer, who we've been talking about for a little while there, made her debut at the senior level, still only 19 years of age. So well done to Michaela Langer. That might be about it for another edition of Rabbitohs Radio Podcast. Up the mighty Rabbitohs, big Les.
Up the bunnies.